On May 1st, 2015, the world was introduced to the promise of an incredible 3D platformer collectathon. Developed by a group of former key personnel from Rare, you know, the guys who made Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64, who had come together to form Playtonic Games and hoped to create a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. This game would be called Yooka Laylee, and a Kickstarter to help fund the creation of this passion project would begin. This Kickstarter would not only reach its goal within 30 minutes of going live, it managed to reach every one of its stretch goals and became one of the most successful Kickstarters of them all, reaching over 3 million in donation with a little over 73,000 backers. It really seemed like nothing could go wrong here. This was a team of people who had a hand in making some of the most cherished games in the genre, and they raised far more money than they expected to, but unfortunately Yooka Laylee wasn't the easy home run everyone expected it to be. Hello everybody and welcome to Silver Rooster, where today we'll be talking about Yooka Laylee, and how it didn't live to the high expectations placed on it. Upon its release, it was met with great controversy. People hated it with a passion. Even the biggest of collectathon fans were dissatisfied with it. Now, this isn't to say there aren't those who loved the game as well. I myself sit in the middle of this one. I didn't hate Yooka Laylee, but I wasn't exactly thrilled with the experience either. And I can understand the disappointment people felt over it. But what was it exactly that caused so many to be disappointed by this experience? Could it be that by 2017, people were just not interested in collectathons anymore? Don't be ridiculous. A Hat in Time released the same year, and people loved that one. We can even go further and look at Astrobot, a recent collectathon that won Game of the Year for 2024. So clearly, it's not a dead genre. If we want to find where Yooka Laylee fell short, we'll have to take a closer look at it. Something I look at as a contributor to the disappointment is that Yooka Laylee wasn't a true spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, which is what most people were expecting it to be. It more so fit the mold of Banjo-Tooie or Donkey Kong 64. And yes, I understand that Tooie is a sequel to Kazooie, but they are fundamentally different games. The tone is different, it's slower paced, and the level designs differ, with Tooie having enormous levels to explore and Kazooie's being more simple and direct. Yooka Laylee is made up of a hub world that leads into 5 different worlds to explore, which seems kinda small. I mean, Kazooie had its hub world with 9 worlds to explore. But as I said, Yooka Laylee fits the Tooie mold, and as such features far bigger levels. And this might actually have been part of the problem. One might say the levels were too big. These levels are so big, it just feels like it takes forever to get where you're trying to go. This problem is actually circumvented in both Tooie and Donkey Kong 64's large levels with warp pads. It's actually really weird Yooka Laylee didn't have these as well. This problem becomes more apparent with the game's expansion mechanic, where each of the 5 levels could be made even bigger. In an interview with Game Informer, managing editor and creative lead Gavin Price explained that the idea behind this mechanic was to give the players a way to have a Kazooie experience with the level first, then by expanding the level you would get the Tooie experience. That sounds good in theory, but in execution, I don't believe it worked in that manner. For starters, the game tells you each world has 25 pages, the main collectible of this game, needed for progression. And it makes it clear you can't get all of them until you expand the level, so most of, if not all players, are just going to expand the world as soon as possible, completely removing the Kazooie experience. Another problem with the larger levels is sometimes you'll come across an area where you have yet to acquire an ability needed to get through it, and be forced to leave until later. With how big these levels can get, I hope you have a good memory, otherwise good luck finding that area again. Yet another problem warp pads could have fixed. That being said, the levels are visually appealing. I really do like the aesthetic of them. Each of them did feature some enjoyable platforming puzzles and pages to collect with your variety of unique abilities, but unfortunately many of these pages just aren't fun to collect. And when it comes to a collectathon, it's pretty important for your main collectible to be as fun as possible. Just a quick example, 2 of the pages in every level involve playing these arcade machines. Obviously, these machines provide a minigame for you to play. You get 1 pagey for simply playing the minigame, and another for beating the high score. And if you enjoyed these minigames, I'm happy for you, because I wish I found them enjoyable. But unfortunately, you have to play them for 2 pages, so I was stuck with them. What made this worse is that if you beat the high score on your first try, the game doesn't reward you with 2 pages. It gives you the first pagey for playing the game, and then makes you beat the high score again to get the second. And of course, I can't avoid talking about the minecart minigames. These are again present in every level, and they are the worst part of the game for me. The cart minigame is simple. You roll to the right, speed up, brake, jump, and fire a cannon while collecting gems, avoid obstacles, and end with hopefully the correct amount of gems needed to clear the game. Sounds easy enough. Now let me explain why this, of all minigames, is the one that made me decide maybe going for 100% just isn't worth it. You can't control the jump height or distance at all. If you tap the button or hold it, you're getting the same jump. Second, your cannonballs only work half the time. You can only fire them once every 5 seconds, but because of how the track winds towards and away from the screen as well as up and down, you're going to miss most of your shots as the cannon veers off by a few degrees. Good luck trying to line up those precise shots. Speeding up is way too risky with how fast and immediate it is, and braking, although helpful, only lasts for a few seconds before it speeds you up again. And in the most bizarre choice, the camera is locked to you rather than just hanging back and following you to the right, which causes the camera to be shaking constantly, adding to making those cannon shots even harder to line up. Apparently I missed one of the game's boss fights because it was on one of these cart sections, but I'd already given up on even trying them by that point. A joke I've heard about this game is that it's ironic that the villain of Yooka Laylee is a soulless corporate CEO, cause it feels soulless. To a degree I understand that joke, as this game lacks the charisma that other collectathons have. Take the goofy and fun banter between characters in games like Banjo-Kazooie, Jak and Daxter, Spyro, or A Hat in Time. When I compare that to Yooka Laylee, it does fall a little flat with a lot of Yooka Laylee's humor, having characters talk about how boring the game you're playing is. Gee, sure am glad this game I spent $60 on is consistently reminding me that I could be playing something else. Not to say that there isn't any good banter whatsoever amongst the characters of this game. It just seems a lot more scarce than the other collectathons I've mentioned. Of course, this is just my opinion on it, and it goes without saying that this game does have its positives. The button layout for abilities were easy to remember and felt natural. I really don't need to talk about the soundtrack. It's hard to not have your music win when you get Grant Kirkhope and David Wise. And of course, Yooka and Laylee are great designs that I definitely can see the potential in, and Playtonic definitely sees it there as well. They did make a spin-off game, a 2D platformer, Yooka Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which was more reminiscent of Donkey Kong Country. I haven't played this one yet, but I hear it was well received. It seems it succeeded in capturing the charm of its genre more than its predecessor did, so there is hope for these characters. To my surprise, Playtonic has announced a remake of Yooka Laylee called Yooka Replaylee, and as you can see from its trailer, it's getting a complete visual update, enhanced performance, new and improved challenges, revised controls and camera, and not only are they giving us a world map and challenge tracker to help with navigation, it's also going to include those warp points I was complaining about earlier. I never would have expected a company to try again with a remake that really seems to have listened to the feedback before making a sequel, which the game's ending clearly implies there's going to be one, but I'm all for it. I guess that leaves the question of, if you were disappointed the first time, are you willing to give them a second chance with this remake? Personally, I'm probably going to sit on it for a bit. I mean, Yooka Laylee came out in 2017, and I didn't play it until 2024, when I saw it on sale for $3. Truth be told, if I had to pay full price for it, it's likely I would have been more disappointed by it. But I'd like to hear your opinion, so let me know in the comments. Did you love or hate Yooka Laylee? And again, are you willing to give the remake a try? I'm curious to know what you have to say. With that, all I have left to say is, love you. Mean it. Click. Hey guys, welcome to unscripted Rooster right now. So I did this script a little bit backwards in the sense that usually when I write my scripts, I get the footage first, then write the script. But this one, I wrote the script first, then replayed Yooka Laylee. So some of the things I had originally written earlier, I have to add this in now because my opinion's a little different on a few things. Like earlier how I said that I don't hate Yooka Laylee and that I was kind of in the middle. Well, I might want to revise that a little bit. Upon replaying it to get some of the footage for this video, I came to realize, again, you know, hate is a strong word. So I wouldn't say I hate ukulele. I just don't like it. You know, an example I guess I could come up with off the top of my head is, I hate Spyro, The Legend of Spyro and the Eternal Night. But, you know, that's clearly a much worse game than ukulele. I mean, ukulele I don't get as angry with thinking about as I would about the Eternal Night, but replaying it I was just kind of bored. Like, the game just has no replay value to me. There's when I look back on ukulele, there's nothing where I'm like, in my head where I can't think of any sequence where I'm like, that was fun. I want to do that a second time. More of that, please. So, you know, I guess I could just confidently say I just don't like it. If you like it, if you loved it, you know, good on you. I'm happy for you. You know, it's good to have something you love, something that brought you that joy. It just didn't do the same for me, unfortunately. I wish it did, but it didn't. And I think that's just really what the hate of it really revolves around. I don't think it's actually as bad as the biggest hater of ukulele says. I think that ukulele is just a disappointment to them and me, in that it wasn't what we were hoping for. I think we really wanted it to be a new Banjo. We wanted it to be that banjo-kazooie level of love. We wanted to love it as much as banjo-kazooie, and, you know, for some people maybe it achieved that, but for most, like myself, it did not. So I think that's just the real case of ukulele here. Anyway, back to you, Scripted Rooster. Hey guys, if you're still here, go ahead and hit like and subscribe for me. If I kept your attention this long, I'd say I've earned it. I get at least one of these video essays out each month, and in February I'll be releasing the next part of my History of Fire Emblem series, covering the GBA era. If you haven't seen the first part, it should be on screen for you by now, as well as a playlist to my other video essays. So go ahead and give those a watch, and of course, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye!